Howdy folks, Kathy Williams-DeVries here from Brisbane, Australia with a masterclass on adjusting reeds. Because if you're anything like me, you'll find that reeds don't play straight out of the box, and old reeds can be given new life again through some delicate adjustments. So what you're going to need is a sanding block, fairly fine, and also some really fine sandpaper. This is the finest you can get. So, the first thing you should do when you get a reed out of the box, find yourself a piece of paper and shine the back of the reed on the paper. That'll get rid of a few nasties. This reed's had it done a few times. It's quite new. And you can also tell, if you look, you should see a downwards V indicating the density of the wood. In this case, the V is kind of lopsided. Here, there's too much wood here. And you'll find if you play it, that it will sound quite fuzzy. Let me show you if it plays at all. Now this is probably too hard a reed too, and I'll have to sand that down, but it's really fuzzy. Now if I blow on one side of the reed, you'll notice that one side of the reed's harder than the other. This is where we get our fine sandpaper. And we sand it down a little bit. So it's still a little bit hard, but it's a lot softer than it was. It's an awful lot better, so let's keep trying to sand that down a little bit more. And you want to do it in the V. So now, that was easy. That was far too easy. I'll have to choose a more demanding reed next time. But if all else fails, just angle the reed slightly on the mouthpiece. And I think it still needs some wood taken off the back of it. Never play a new reed too much, only about 5 or 10 minutes over the first few days to allow it to break in. So that's a lot better. I think I could probably still sand it down further. Getting better all the time. And actually this is a very nice reed now. getting nicer and nicer all the time. Probably still use a little bit of work. I usually use reed brush, but I ran out. Most music store doesn't stock it anymore. So that is absolutely beautiful now. That was too easy, but it's really that simple. So let me pull out another one that ain't so good. Okay, number 5. Number 5 is a notorious reed. This one's a really fuzzy one too. And you can hear how fuzzy that is. And you can tell that this side of the reed here has got a little bit too much wood on it. So we apply the sandpaper again. I often find with the Van Dorens it's the right hand side that's a little bit too woody. Still a little fuzzy. But definitely a lot more workable. So there's not much actually between the two sides of the reed now, which is really good. And in fact, I will polish the back of it a little bit on the white paper. And there is a little bit of gut there. So polish that, shine that up. You should be able to see a nice shine to the reed when you put it up to the light. So I wouldn't exactly play that in a concert, but that's definitely more workable. Still a bit of fuzz left in there. Okay, let's pull out number 7 and see what we got. I number my reed. I put little numbers on the reed pack, the reed guard. I put numbers on the reed guard, see, so I can tell which number they are and how they play. You keep notes, of course. And again, it's the right side that's a little bit woody. That's a lot better than it was. Still a bit of fuzz there. So that one plays quite well as well. This is too easy. Let me try number 8. Because every reed has its own personality. So again, the right side, it's a little bit woody. Maybe a little soft, but we can always make it harder. So that's definitely more workable. So with all you need, very fine sandpaper, sanding block, and just a plain piece of paper, and that's basically all you need. So what I do is I blow on, I put my lip to one side of the reed and blow on the other side, because that determines which side of the reed's harder or not. So see how I've turned my clarinet? That's the clarinet normally. I've turned it that way. And there's still a little bit of imbalance in it, but it's a lot better than it was. That's a lot better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of my harder reeds, because I'm going to have to sand it down. So that was number 8. And what was I using this morning? Okay, this one. I think this one's way too hard. You've got to be careful about your reeds. If you're too hard, you risk blowing out your embouchure. I've done it a few times. Way too hard. So let's. I have a fine side and a coarser side, so I'm using the coarser side. I'm just sanding that down a little bit, and I may need to adjust it. Side to side as well. So that's actually turned out quite nicely. and it's very finely balanced. You have to find a reed that's on the other way. Let's try this one. I use Van Doren V12 4s to go on my Selma C95 130 mouthpiece. It's probably too hard for a lot of you. Okay, it's also a little bit too hard, so let's get the sanding block. Better to have a reed that's too hard because you can work on sanding it down rather than trying to get a soft reed to go hard, because you've got to go start clipping and yada yada. Okay, so this is just a quick 15-minute masterclass on reed making, reed adjustment. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to email me on webclarinetlessons, all one word, @gmail.com.